Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Blackfoot Book Club, which is also part 9 of my self-published book in August of this year, The Spirit of Cricket. Now if you turn to page 96 of your personalised copies, you'll see chapter 16 entitled Ashes Summer Musings Volume 4, A Line on a Bridge and Sunday Night Baseball. Sunday the 25th of June 2023. With heavy thunderstorms predicted to pockmark a sweltering, some might say muggy Sunday in the industrial beating heart of central England, I chanced my arm at a late morning stroll into my spiritual hometown of Ironbridge as the rowing regatta was in full weekend swing, and I'll never tire of the walk beside the River Severn as she gently flows with the river of life from Coalbrookdale and the site of the regatta to nearby Ironbridge. The rowing club, local park and all available viewing sites at the start of the regatta were teeming with the very essence of excitable life and as busy as I've ever seen it, even matching the yearly festival to celebrate Ironbridge's status as a World Heritage accredited site. Being too busy and merely the starting line for a parade of races heading away from Ironbridge in the direction of Shrewsbury, it became of little interest to a mere interloper seeking action shots of the boats on the river, and besides, the storm clouds were gathering fast and I decided to go and say hello to a lion on a bridge instead. Ironbridge was its busy Sunday self as always and remains a joy to see alive with the pitter-patter of human life. Before I exchanged pleasantries with some poor soul encased within a ginormous and very colourful lion outfit, I marvelled at two dogs scurrying for tennis balls in the river, scattering nearby ducks as they had the time of their canine lives before retreating to a fishing peg on the banks of the river with the most charming view you could ever wish to imagine. It's maybe a couple of 100 feet from the bridge itself, but with the river still, it affords the most magnificent of reflections of the bridge and the surrounding riverbanks. Visitors rarely, if ever, take the opportunity of relishing this view, and so for 10 minutes I smoked a cigarette and watched the world go by on the other side of the river. Then I received a cheery wave from a poor wretch inside a blisteringly hot looking lion costume, collecting for a local charity in their Silver Across the Bridge campaign, resisted the temptation of fish and chips from the local chip shop, leftover curry awaited me later, and returned home before the heavens opened and the thunder roared. The afternoon was spent writing a film review for a film I've secretly seen twice, and bragging into the matrix that I'd shaken hands with a lion on a bridge before I settled into the highlights of Day 4 of the Ashes Test match between England on the brink of defeat and a visiting Australia demonstrating why they, in league with the country's men's team, are the champions of the world. Whereas the first 3 days of this one-off test match have seen a huge bag full of runs being scored for the loss of very few wickets, today was the complete reverse, with 15 wickets falling in a day, headlined yet again by an English cricketer, Sophie Eccleston, for 10 wickets in the match. Yet Australia as a team are streets ahead, heavily on top, and mighty favourites to wrap up victory tomorrow morning. The 15 wickets to fall fell in cricketing clumps as both teams suffered batting collapses, but it appears to be fatal for England at the close of play this evening. Closing on 110 for 5, the hosts still require a further 158 runs to win, but with only 5 wickets in hand. All hopes are pinned on Danny White tomorrow to score the vast majority of these runs, whilst being ably assisted by her 4 remaining teammates in the process. It could be one hell of a finish at a free-to-enter Trent Bridge tomorrow if England can bat into the afternoon session, or, whisper it, the test match could be all over in a dominant hour from a far superior Australian team. I foresee an earlier Aussie victory and the first in a points-based best-of-7 series this English summer, and just before the scheduled lunch break in the morning, it will be a 1-0 lead for both the ladies and the men's team. But this Ashes summer is only in its infancy, and hope, as ever, springs eternal. I concluded my Sunday evening with a leftover curry and some Sunday night baseball, as it's billed, but it's actually early Monday morning baseball, and it always has been. Since those college days of watching the first UK broadcast of America's pastime in the early 1990s to a real fandom of the great game of the Los Angeles Dodgers, those perennial underachievers who finally won the World Series in a now long ago year of 2020, baseball, like cricket, grips me, and when I'm watching, then I'm in for the rest of the season, which in the case of baseball is 2/3 of the year, and so I tend to fall into line after the vaunted mid-season break for the All-Star game, and then I'm Dodger blue until preferably mid-October. Alas, my team of baseball heroes in blue are much changed after a record-breaking season ended in utter heartbreak, and a transitional season has now seen club legends such as my favourite player Justin Turner and the big-hitting Trey Turner leave for the exit. My team in baseball blue mirrors my football team dressed in the red of Liverpool. Both teams won their respective big dance in recent years. Both teams followed this up with almost winning everything in sight, only to fall agonisingly short, and both of my sporting loves are now ailing and in somewhat of a transitional stage ahead of once more going for it all in the sporting distraction of the bread and circuses that surround our lives. I departed from the beautiful confines of a bright and sunny Sunday evening at Dodger Stadium in the dark of a UK Monday morning, with my Dodgers trailing 2-1 after taking a 1-0 lead via a home run from Mookie Betts. They would then trail 4-1 before Freddie Freeman notched a double in the 8th innings, his 2000th all-time career hit, and one which was rousingly celebrated, as well as scoring Betts, who scampered home from second base. Freeman's record-setting hit cranked a comeback into motion that would ultimately lead to a 6-5 defeat in extra innings to their newly bitterest rivals, the Houston Astros, but the baseball will roll on with only my briefest of glances of sporting admiration until this summer of Ashes cricket is over. Tomorrow is a rest day, to use a term from the oldest of cricketing memories from matches of yesteryear when they used to, believe this or not, schedule a rest day in the middle of a test match. A day planned to hang out with my son and catch up with some writing before I go in search of another picturesque stretch of a local canal somewhere on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a cinema trip and a treat once more as we join Harrison Ford in a time-travelling escapade with Indiana Jones and a Dial of Destiny apparently. Oh, and the second test match of the men's Ashes starts on Wednesday too. All hail this beautiful summer of 2023. And there we have it, another episode from the Blackford Book Club, where I almost made it all the way through. Almost! But I'm sure you won't hold it against me. If you can support me in any way to poke those dastardly publishers in the eye that refuse to read my manuscript, I would appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, that would be fantastic too. And I now leave you in peace and in solidarity, and I do sincerely thank you for watching.